Hey guys, what's up? Unrested here. I am back again with another JFAQ. Today I am out at Utsubo Park and it is a beautiful day out here. Take a look. Got people playing out in the water. I'm here with my kids, just chilling out. Got the sunglasses on just for the sun, not because I think I'm cool. And today I want to answer a question I got recently that was a pretty good one. It said, you've lived in Japan for almost 10 years now, which is true, I have, and what are the things that you still either don't understand or don't get or haven't assimilated into or still kind of question about with living in Japan? And that's a really good question because off the top of my head, I can think of three. For the most part, there's so many positives in Japan, they far outweigh any of the negatives. So these aren't really complaints about anything. These aren't anything like I'm saying these are negative things or things that are bad about Japan that I don't understand why people do it. It's just things that I just don't understand. And maybe today someone in the comments will enlighten me and say, Scott, this is why people do that. Or maybe you'll be just as confused as I am. Anyway, let's jump into number one, and that is trash in Japan, throwing away trash. Now you're probably thinking like, Scott, it's simple, you just throw it in the basket, it's trash. But in Japan, usually you have to separate your trash into multiple receptacles. And in some prefectures, in some wards, there's so many different types. Like there's one variety show I watched one time where they separate into 23 different types of trash. Like you've got the plastic bottle and then you take off the top, and then like this here, I've got one right here. So like you've got this and you take off the top, right? And then there's this ring right here. There's a prefecture in Japan where they separate this and the bottle all into different receptacles. They have one just for the rings that connect the tops. And there's different parts of Japan where they separate it more and more and more. You've got plastic wrappers, this one's only paper, this one's only burnable, this one's only wood. You can only throw away plastic on this day. Even at my own apartment complex in the city, which is usually pretty lenient on you separating trash, has separate days for newspaper, cardboard, clothes, plastic, metal cans, or I should say aluminum cans, and a couple other ones, and that's just mine. And I'm in the city, and usually in the city you don't have to separate it as much because people live busy lives. But then Japan wraps everything in multiple packages at the same time, which I understand for display sake. Like it makes stuff look really beautiful, you wrap it in beautiful packaging, and let's be honest, Japan's got some beautiful stationery, beautiful paper, beautiful prints, wonderful stamps that they put on things, and you know the kanji always looks beautiful on different things. But I always wonder why they have it separated into so many things, but also package things in so many separate things at the same time. It always blows my mind. You open up a box of cookies, and you've got the plastic ring on the inside, you've got the tray, you've got the plastic wrappers that everything's in, then maybe each individual roll of cookies is wrapped in a tin foil package. That's got to be separated too. The entire thing has been covered in plastic on the inside. You got to separate that. The outside is a paper bag, and you've got to do that. You've taken it from the store in your vinyl bag, and then you've got to throw that into a separate one. It always blows my mind that they'll make you separate everything but also package everything in multiple layers. Probably the next thing on the list is winter and summertime, and I guess all four seasons in between, about how people seem to follow a code of what clothing they should wear. So we're in spring now, it's not really officially summer yet, but it's pretty hot out. Like today's about 30 Celsius, maybe, you know, reaching up 32. It's hot, you know, I'm out here in a tank top, but you'll be on the train, and I just was, to get out here to Utsubo Park, and there's people wearing like winter jackets still, or at least, at the very least, early spring jackets, like trench coats, and they'll be on the train and they'll be sweating profusely, and they'll be saying, atsu, 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 which just means like I'm hot, or it's hot, over and over again, and I'm just like, well, yeah, of course, it's like, you know, 30 degrees out, it's super hot. What are you doing? And I'll never understand that about Japan. It also follows suit with air conditions on trains and stuff. Like people will literally be dying. I've seen people faint on the trains because it's so damn hot. And they'll be like, why don't you have the air condition turned on so people don't, you know, fry in this box? And they'll be like, well, it's not summer yet. We're not allowed to turn it on. It's just like, well, there's, I guess, a schedule to follow, and then there's practicality in it. I always wonder, like, why don't you just follow practicality? But again, this is Japan, this is the way it's done. I'm not here to change or, you know, ask the country to do things different. I'm merely here to live here. Make a living, pay my taxes, etc. So that's a second one. Always the kind of strange change in weather that people do. And the last one that kind of always confuses me is people usually put plastic bottles and they fill them up with water, or they'll hang CDs from their house. And I always thought this was such a strange practice. Why are people doing this? Why are they hanging the CDs, like old CDs, like, you know, you'd get like crap CDs in the mail, like in America we used to get the old AOL CDs for like 105 hours of free internet, and you wouldn't use those, you just toss them out. Japan, they'll keep CDs like that, or old CDs that they don't need anymore. They'll hang them from their like balcony, or from maybe a patio they have. They'll also have around like telephone poles and their beautiful gardens and stuff, plastic bottles filled with water. And I was always like, God, this makes everything look so ugly. Like, why do they do this to their houses? Like, is it something I'm totally not understanding? And I heard on Variety Show, a newspaper, and a couple Japanese people, old Japanese people, told me that this is done to keep cats or other animals like raccoons out of their trash and out of their yard and out of their balcony and their patios. And I always wonder, like, why do this? So you're trying to keep it nice so that, you know, these animals don't tear up those different places, but then you put old water bottles and old CDs on all these places that eventually makes them look ugly anyway. So it seems so counterintuitive. It seems counteractive to everything you're doing. You're trying to stop these animals from tearing everything up, but then you've ruined everything with all this junk you're putting all around there. Apparently there's some kind of like old wives' tale that if you put a plastic bottle, that the sun reflecting off of that or a CD will scare a cat or a raccoon away, which, I mean, if you know the slightest bit about animals, you know it's not true. And that always confuses me. So just maybe do a little research of your own, and you'll figure out that that doesn't happen, and then they can clean them up, and maybe just set out, I don't know, some other kind of, I'm sure there's some store-bought like spray or something you can do to get those animals to stay away from your area. Anyway, guys, those are my 3 little things that I've never come to understand about Japan. Not negatives, not bad things, not really things that really impact my life even, aside from maybe the trash. And that's the few things I want to just give you in this video today. This is JFAQ, Japan's Frequently Asked Questions. I am Unrested with the questions you requested. Have a good one.